group stage, qualifiers to the round of 16 come down to the last day of a group game.
Right.
And even if we're looking again at yesterday with the group with Spain, Germany, Japan, Costa Rica for 3 glorious minutes, it was Japan and Costa Rica, and you're looking at it and you don't expect Costa Rica to have really gone through, but for 3 minutes there was a hope. You could hear it in the stadium, you could feel it, and I said this would be a very interesting upset for Spain and Germany out.
Without the new ball and new Adidas ball right now, that game would have gone to Costa Rica if the extra time was not long. Because those games, you know, like back in the day, the game would have been shorter, wouldn't have 10 minutes extra time and those kind of things. So those games would have finished much quicker, and maybe right now CONCACAF would be celebrating going into the one more team going into the second round in round of 16.
True. Yeah. Something that we've ignored. Joel, your thoughts about this extra time? 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 13 minutes that we've seen.
The World Cup of the extra time. I actually did
Fergie time.
Fergie time.
Fergie time. I actually did look into it, and I was reading up on it, and I don't remember which manager said that in general for a 90-minute game you're playing basically like 69 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah, so they're saying, and now we have 5 subs. So instead of 3, we have 5 subs. They say you take the time for the goals. So with that in consideration, I can see where the 6 minute comes in now as a standout, because it's 5 plus goals and everything. It's still a little bit disheartening if you're the winning team and you want to just stay winning for that 6 minutes, because we know those Fergie goals, those Fergie time goals.
Right.
But it makes it a little bit more understandable when you look at the history and the fact that of a 90-minute game you're playing 60 minutes, 69 minutes.
But I would like to touch on a point that actually I was listening to one of the referees from the committee, and he's saying, okay, yes, we need to add back the time, but there's a psychological factor to 90 minutes that people don't understand. When you are a player and you see 80 minutes and you are playing Germany and you see 90 minutes, 80 minutes, you have 10 minutes to go, and you turn around, you're the captain, and you say, let's go score 2 goals. And you score 2 goals, and you give it your 150. Because you're thinking 90 minutes is right around the corner.
And you go to 10 minutes now.
And then you see 10 minutes. You could see why like 3 goals score on them in the extra time.
Right.
Sure.
Because you go in, you put in all your energy, and you know there's a psychological factor. The game is soon, it should be done soon.
Supposed to.
You're looking up at the clock. I don't believe players don't watch the clock, you know. Players know and watch and look and see time and want to know, okay, if the game is finished in a couple minutes, let's give it our all. Exactly. So then if you start part the bus 20 minutes early, you're gonna get tired. You know, so some of this now is like coaches have to start coaching their teams differently now.
And that is a fair point. Bringing it out of football, I know with cricket, somebody once asked, how do you coach a team for a test cricket? Because you never know what's going to happen.
Correct.
You know how to coach them for one day for T20.
It must be over by a particular time.
Right. So I mean, at this point, if this is where it's going to go, we're starting a turn, and we move on. Because first, we never really liked VAR as much. It is what it is. It's here to stay. Extra time going to be here to stay. I think they're just going to have to.
There's so many evolution of the football game.
Just to have it in the finals of the competition at this stage to get a team used to it. I mean, we know England with their extraordinary other half in that first game, a total of 24 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, in total, yeah.
So I think the game is evolving. I just hope that we don't use the World Cup to launch new experiments. That's just something that I strongly believe in. I think if we were doing this should have been implemented 2 years before. This is not the first time. Get them used to it. Okay. Players get to a level where they understand what to expect. So you as a captain, as a coach, you're saying to them, calm down. We may still have 10 minutes. It's okay. Then substitutions. Now you're seeing coaches dropping substitution at 60 minutes. Maybe you now save 2 players for the extra 10 minutes. So there's a Russian roulette now, because you don't know if it's gonna be 10. You don't know if it's gonna be 13. So look at substitutions now. Normally, substitutions happen at 60 minutes. Most games, 60, 70 minutes. Maybe you need to save 2 or 3 to 80, 90 minutes, So So there's a whole evolution, and this needs to be
And,
trained
it's going to be
and
interesting
effectively.
in this round of 16 now because it's do or die. So
Exactly.
if you make the sub early,
I think some coaches have already recognized it, and
they're changing
and
their-
should be changing. Yeah.
Yeah, just a reminder, folks, those teams that have dropped out, still 4 more teams that will be exiting the competition after today. Qatar, they're out for the host nation. Canada, Ecuador, Wales, Iran, Tunisia, Denmark, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Belgium, Germany, and Costa Rica. The teams that are in, of course, you see on your screen right now, all those teams are out. The big ones, Belgium, Germany, they are gone. Denmark, who were many people's dark horses for the competition, also an early exit of the competition. So that is all done and dusted right now. The teams that are going through to the last 16 now, that is a compelling case as well. As we've mentioned already, 2 teams that are from the continent of Africa are through to the last 16, namely Senegal and Morocco. The first time that this is happening since 2014 that 2 African teams are into the last 16. These are the matchups that we have so far. So Spain are taking on Morocco. Japan, Croatia, both teams met each other in 98. Remember, they're in Jamaica's group in 1998 as well. France against Poland, England, Senegal, Argentina against Australia. To many people, they've received a bye to the last 8, and the Netherlands against the United States. CONCACAF's remaining survivor from the tournament, the United States of America. Still, a couple more places to be decided. Portugal and Brazil, they're already through. Well, we just need to know exactly where they'll finish in the table, and from there we'll know the permutations as well, who they'll face, who they're likely to face in the next round. But if you were to say as it stands, if it were to remain as is in the table right now, it wouldn't be a Brazil-Portugal in the round of 16. That would be a hard one.
We're happy for that.
You happy about that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. If it stands right now, it would be Brazil against Ghana in the round of 16 and Portugal against Switzerland, if it stays as is. But there's still a lot more to get through. Joel, it's still, as it relates to Group H, which will be coming up quite shortly, the 10 o'clock fixtures. Ghana, 3 points. South Korea, 1. Uruguay, 1. What you feeling? The South Koreans, you hoping that they can get over the line?
honestly, with this World Cup, I really just want to shake up that middle order. So, I mean, if South Korea does get the win, Uruguay does get the win, we shake up that middle order. Unfortunately, that does mean that Ghana is left on the 3 points.
Right.
South Korea and Uruguay on 4. But, you know, we like the little drama that we've been getting. We like that little drama. We should keep it going, even if we get like in the Ecuador-Senegal match, where Ecuador equalized and Senegal just scored 31 seconds later. We like the little drama.
No, I think a good set of
I think we're in for a good set of
yes,
games.
I think a good set of games are here today. Some rivalries coming out of today. I know the number 7 war is happening today. I didn't expect that to be a war. The Son versus Ronaldo. I didn't expect there to be a number 7 war in the world. So there's something to prove today as well.
Yes, certainly. And there's another number 7 on the Uruguayan standpoint who will get the start. Well, the number 9 for Uruguay, that's Luis Suarez. Yeah, but Cavani is on the bench and could have an impact later today. Suarez. Conrad, you remember that game back in 2010? You remember the emotions and everything?
Oh my God! That was the World Cup for Africa to perform well. That was the World Cup where Africa that Ghanaian team could have gone on to go to the finals. They had a very solid team and a very solid striker in Gian at the time, and very good striker. Played well, stand up for his team, and brought his team to a quarter-final play. So, and I will be looking forward to that. And he played well during that game. But then if you know anything about Suarez can't lose. He doesn't do well with losing. He doesn't manage losing very well. And, you know, and Uruguayans normally do these kind of things. You know, Darwin Núñez come first game, headbutt somebody. You know, you have to expect that they live and breathe football. So when I see hands the ball, so with hands in the ball is not crazy for me to think from a Uruguayan, right? Some other teams maybe not, but for a Uruguayan, all hands on deck. But the good part about it, everybody said he's the person that kicked them out. He didn't. Because if he had Bruno Fernandes in his side, and there's no way miss. And if he had Jorginho in that Ghana side, they would be in the semi-final. So it's not about it, but it was a tough one. It was a tough one to swallow. Especially him get a red card, he went off and he's standing on the sideline, and then Jan just sky that ball, and you know it's something that I can't forget. It's one of the World Cup memories that you don't want to
Very
remember.
interesting
You,
one.
you don't want to remember, but
That
it
you
was
can't
good. It
forget,
was good
yeah.
for the, it was
You're on
good
the
to
sideline
see.
for it.
No, it's good to see one loyalty and commitment and dedication from a player like Suarez. See, people look at it from the negative side, but from loyalty, all of those things from one side, you can see it clearly. But then on the other side, when Africa dropping out and not making them first semi-finals, you can also feel the disappointment.
Indeed. Joel, you saw the press conference that Luis Suarez had, basically telling the Ghanaian media, don't blame me. I just did what was best for my country in a sense.
I mean, we've all seen it. We've all seen it where, sometimes you're just in the middle of the match and your only instinct is, we're going to win, I'm going to protect the goal. If I get the red card doing it, I'm going to go out. The rest of it is up to my team.
Okay.
And in terms of passion, like, we want our footballers to be passionate about the game. We want it. I mean, going back to the battles of number 7, Cristiano Ronaldo in the Euros, injured and on the sideline, more so animated than his manager.
Assistant coach.
Player manager. Because
Coach.
this could be his
Motivator.
This could be his last World Cup for them, but I expect to fully see him right there on the sideline for the next World Cup. Okay. Running up and down the sideline and motivating his team and trying to push them there. I fully see it. This is not it for him and the bench. Maybe I don't think he'll be the manager, but he's going to be there, running them down and telling them to lift their game.
Well, I really don't see Ronaldo on a sideline, and the reason for that is Ronaldo is all about himself, right? So if he's not playing and he's not a part of the history of this, I don't see him doing.
There is that aspect.
That's a Ronaldo for you.
That is.
But this World Cup, he has something to prove, and he wanted to win a European Championship to say I won an international trophy, and that's something that Messi don't have. And Messi won Copa.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand something that is going on here. There's a dichotomy here now. So before, he was the greatest. If Messi didn't win Copa.
Right.
Because that was the story. You don't win any international stuff. So now the playing field is leveled. Problem now. I need to win a World Cup. That's the only other thing to prove us. To separate us. So now I think, don't be surprised that Messi is thinking the same and Ronaldo is thinking the same at this moment.
I think the same, but it affects them in two different ways.
Certainly, one had to fight a club and the other one. So it's crazy right now. They will do anything to get to the World Cup and win it at the moment.
And the script, folks, could not be written any better, because if Portugal tops their group today, Portugal and Argentina will be on two separate paths of the draw, which means if they win their games, they could meet in the final as well.
Correct.
A storybook ending Argentina-Portugal final.
It would be the greatest.
It would be a very interesting.
It would be the greatest final of all times. It would be something for the books. And I actually hope. I'm a Brazilian fan.
Yeah.
But you're hoping.
And
if it's not Brazil.
If it's not, I was just gonna say it. If it's not Brazil, it must be an Argentina-Portugal final. That if as long as my team is not in the final, I would love for it to be Portugal and Argentina, just to shut it up.
Consider headlines there.
Yeah, man, it's the most sales you would get in any from TV, right? So everything across the world, everybody will be trying to settle the score.
That's another one that we have to keep close on. That's him. Cristiano Ronaldo, comment coming in from Ball Watching. Messi thinks less about Ronaldo than Ronaldo thinks about Messi. I guess it really determines the questions that the public and the press will ask him. That's Bruno Fernandes, his former teammate club-wise for Manchester United, certainly a lot on his plate. And Cristiano Ronaldo, a point to prove today as well with 8 World Cup goals. If he can get 2 more goals at this tournament, he'll pass Eusebio as Portugal's highest scorer in World Cup history. Ronaldo, he has 8 goals, and Messi also at 8. So you have that head-to-head battle right there as well, heading into the last 16 of the competition. The script couldn't be written any better.
Couldn't be written any better. But while we're talking about history, I just want to backtrack to a game yesterday, the Germany-Costa Rica game, with the all-female
officials.
ref team. Yeah, that was something to be seen. I just want to backtrack because that is a moment. That is a moment that we have to recognize and just respect. The game overall.
The game is
changing.
evolving. Yeah, the game is evolving, and we are all happy to see that women involvement. There's so many conversations now happening about women in sport. Equal pay, equal opportunity, which is them referring some major games. So I'm happy to see that conversations are happening and the evolution of the sport is happening as well.
I'm happy to see because while like a lot of eyes would have been on it to see it as a full-fledged women's outfit for refereeing.
And there were no major thing happening in that game specifically in that so it's good for them, and it will give some opportunities for more people in the future.
I think they handled it very well. Obviously very confident. It wasn't her first time in the center of a field, but it was a good showing and confidence. The game was managed very well. I can't say that there were any major incidents, as you said, and it was an emotional game, and it was just handled very well. So I really wanted to make that known out there. We have evolved quite a bit.
Yeah, man, and that's good for the sport.
Absolutely. And Joel, we've had this conversation as well, briefly as well, speaking about the United States women's team, defending champions, and with the men and everything of that nature now on that level playing field that Conrad was speaking about regarding remuneration and getting the exposure that they deserve. Yeah. I
mean, it's just an unfortunate place we are currently, where, the equality right now is just not there. And we know that even in the prize money, when you see what you get for the men's World Cup prize money as opposed to what they have for women's World Cup prize money, I mean, there is a disparity. And the fact is, and the honest truth is, more people are invested in what the men are doing. It's not to say that it won't change, because we see it changing. Again, even when you look at the jerseys, the stars of winning a World Cup only count if you're from the men's side, because, I mean, if it counted otherwise, we would have some more we'd have a star on the American team.
Yeah. So I think the conversation you're having now is a fair conversation coming from a woman. I really find it to be objective, because I've been having conversations, and I remember once, I think, having a conversation, and Jeff was saying, you have to look at the commercial situation that is happening behind the sport right now. Football for the males are like 100 years old. And women is like maybe 10 to 20 years.
It's coming along.
Right? So you can't expect that the investment in that you can pay, the amount you can pay, you can fill 50 stadiums of 70,000 people paying £100 to come watch a game, while the comparison is completely different for a female at the moment. So as we evolve, as we have more Bonisha, as we have more people who people want to come and watch and see the skill, and they're doing the same thing, the sport will evolve, and the compensation will evolve, just like in business. So in business, women are getting better pay. It happens, so just give it some time.
It's going to take some time, because if you're looking at the prize money, I think by the time you reach the second round, so around the 16th for men, you're almost where you are with prize money for the women's. And the fact is, you just don't have, it's unfortunate, as I said, you just don't have the traction that it would carry, because, again, America is one of the people that try to globalize their sport and their athletes, and that's just about it.
Yeah, man.
Outside of that, we do know in the Europes what they're doing. They have the Women's European Champions League and all of this, and we're grateful for it.
Yeah.
Everything is coming along. It's just going to take time. It can't be, I've shown up now, so I want equal pay.
Yeah, man. And everybody has to wait their turn, and there were males back in the day certainly wanted better pay when maybe another sport was doing well. So cricket maybe used to get better pay than football at a point, because cricket was that sport. Right. So don't ever think about it like, we should be equal all the time. Equality comes with a level of investment. There was a time when boxing was just a kind of sport, but now boxing gets millions of dollars because of the investment. So I think we just need to wait till the investment and the support for the league and the sports for women evolve and get to that level, and then it will be equal and fair.
Yeah, everything in time. Well said. So let me show you a graphic, that I know you both will have vested interest in as well in terms of a decision yesterday. Before we look at the Brazil one in terms of how they approached a previous game, the Japanese are going, and I should say the Spanish fans are livid about this decision in particular. Thank you very much. We can definitely see in relation to the ball and different angles of things. It's amazing how perspective is. Joel, let me start with you on this one, because if you were perhaps behind the Japanese number 9, you perhaps have a different angle compared to this one, the benefit that we're getting right now.
Yes. See, no, this is again why I never want to make those tough decisions. Again, it's a lot about perspective. And I looked at it and I said, I don't know. It brings me back to that England goal that never counted. Was it behind the line?
Frank Lampard, yeah.
These are tough decisions, and we were talking about it earlier. Right now you're on the back line, so you have goal line technology. So we already know you have technology for it to cross the goal line. Just extend it to the back line. Extend it to the back line, because not only was it in the Japan, but we had one in Costa Rica where the ball went out. Keylor Navas saved it, and it wasn't counted, but that one was very much over the line.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If you're having goal line technology, try and extend it to the back line, because those actually do make a lot of decisions more than throwing.
Yes, but you see, again, the game has to continue.
The game does have to continue.
It continue to evolve, and you put these things in place before the England goal caused us to go to goal line technology. Offside, we can't have offside, and some fouls we couldn't manage, and some penalties were unfair, so VAR coming. So the sport is evolving because of the things. It's really it's really unfair to see some of these things when they happen, but it's a sport, and the sport has flaws, and we need to accept that.
The only thing that I'm going to have to say about that particular decision over the fact that there was a non-decision in the Germany game is that resulted in a goal, which means VAR had to look it over, which means it was a panel of refs that made a decision that was still in, as opposed to the game has to go on. So in the Costa Rica-Germany game, you weren't calling it back for a corner. They weren't going to call it back for a corner because there was no resulting end for that.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying, but when I'm saying that we have the goal line technology, once it results in a goal, VAR still looks it over to make sure that nothing was out of play, nothing was offside. So, I mean, now you're not even looking at just a one-person decision. You're now looking at a panel of decisions, and if they could make a clear-cut decision, it would have gone to the on-field ref. So obviously,
I think we're over-exaggerating a lot of situations. No, it's a game of fine margins, and sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't. When the 30 minutes come and you're tired, it plays against you. But in another game, when you just put on 5 subs, it plays for you. So Germany versus Spain, the extra minutes worked for them. In those games, Germany got a chance to come back in the game. So many little small margins are there, but we have to give the governing body an opportunity to rectify some of these things with time.
Conrad, do you miss the human element or the human error of the sport?
Boy, the human error of the sport made the sport fun, because it make it fun. It makes the game, some of these offsides that the goals, some of these goals that you see score that you call back in the Argentina game.
Yes.
When that pass comes through, that through ball come through, and him come and him score it, and you're like, what a beautiful goal. And then you hear offside. You see, those are the parts where you're for the fans, the fans of the sport. Yeah. If VAR is for the countries or the clubs.
Right.
That's not. So if I'm looking at it from a fan, I prefer the human error as a fan.
Right.
But if you're a coach, you want VAR because you want it badly.
I mean, to be fair, VAR has given quite a bit of penalties that we would have never seen.
You would never see
because it was never called by
exactly. And so in my head, I think it is a fair game for fairness, and so that England could actually win a World Cup.
Very much so.
So the fairness, we need VAR for fairness.
Yeah.
But I think the game will evolve and take out human error nearly 100% because so many is invested in some of these teams, so much money, so much time, some people. This is their one opportunity, and think about offside goal by a Messi that would steal the win from a Ronaldo. Yeah, if you see that, those are the situations you don't want to happen. So Messi actually win a World Cup unfairly, and Ronaldo lose. Think about that kind of final. Or Neymar finally gets his opportunity to say, I am the greatest in the world, goes to the final, and something happens, and just VAR could have saved that and give him that history to say he's one of the greatest of all time. So those are some of the things why I said I love the technology
I see it
being
on
used.
both sides, but I don't think we'll ever not have a human element to it. I mean, there's always going to be a human error because we're not going to have a robot doing it.
Yes, certainly.
Everything is still up to interpretations. Obviously, we have the panel, so it's not one other person's opinion. It's quite a few that they have to agree on. So
without the technology, Ronaldo would have scored.
Yes.
Without Adidas ball saying that it didn't touch you, and look, it would have shown on the graph.
We would have had 98.
We would have seen some motion on the graph that it touched the ball. It didn't. So, but I would have preferred Ronaldo scoring. I would have preferred Ronaldo scoring for the books, for the 9 goals, for the competition. For the 9-8. You understand? So
it is what it is. I think the only part of the VAR, as you said, for the fans, it takes that little bit away from them, especially when you're waiting to find out if it's a goal. So not just team, but fans are just like, oh, what is this? Because again, if the Argentina's goal had scored, it would have been a completely different game going into halftime. I don't think it would have been the same result that we had. But for VAR, the credit to it in terms of fair play, we had a lot of penalties in the early games with grabbing and pulling people down, and that has stopped. That has completely stopped because we're going to pull that back. We're going to pull that back.
Yeah, man, and certain behaviors will change now in the sport. If you know the Fernandinhos of this world that step on your toe and pull your shirt, and they know how to do it the Pep Guardiola way. Where you sneak a little pullback, a Kyle Walker. You know those. There are some cheeky players that are in the sport. Now when you know that it's gonna be called back, you're gonna take less risk with your play.
And for fair play, and that's good.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that, Conrad, is because many people, even here with the likes of Jev and others, would say, without that, we may have not seen the hand of God from Diego Maradona if VAR was back then, and little elements like that.
There's some of the historic things that we have seen that make the sport fun, and we talk about to this day.
Yeah.
VAR would have gotten rid of them, all of them. So we'll have less memories, of some of these things. And so we just have to appreciate it as the game evolves. And like anything in life, things will change.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is just one of the situations.
Definitely. One of those certain elements that we have to pay close attention to. Just a reminder, folks, it's at 10 o'clock that the Portugal versus the Portugal versus South Korea encounter will take place, and the big one, Uruguay versus Ghana. Basically, the winner of that game stands a good chance of advancing through. South Korea, they will need a victory as well in terms of advancing towards the next round of the competition. Portugal, they are safe, and hopefully quite shortly we can get the graphic on the screen to show you those permutations as well, what team needs what, and what can happen in case of those results in particular. But let me show you first in terms of the schedule for the day and what we have in store for you all. Just a reminder again, 3 shows a day. As you know, right now it's the 9 o'clock pre-game show. We'll have our afternoon show at 1 o'clock and our evening show at 4 o'clock. 10 o'clock, it's South Korea versus Portugal, Ghana versus Uruguay. At 2 o'clock, the big games, the Serbia versus Switzerland, and Cameroon versus Brazil. Brazil looking to be one of the first teams in this tournament alongside Portugal to win 3 straight in the group stages. And the last team to win 3 straight and go on to win a tournament? Yeah, it was Brazil, 2002. They got the better of all
the
games.
Yes,
all 7.
All the games. So that's one of my fondest memories, So
Yes, President.
No, man. You see, I was saying this morning that the fun, when as person starting watching football or the World Cup.
Right.
Because if you're a German fan, you either was watching it at 2010 You know, 2014.
2014.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if you see people say, I'm Spanish fan, 2010 is their year.
True.
If you hear that, oh, I'm a Brazil fan, they are in the 90s.
It is, absolutely.
It's the 90s, you know. And maybe you hear some Italy in and around the 90s because they were a good challenger back in the time.
So where the Argentinians come from?
It's just Maradona from back in the day.
It is,
You
yeah.
know, it's the
And
80s.
Messi.
But
The current Argentine, so
Argentine
Argentina
fans?
support.
It's Messi.
It's
Yeah.
just Messi.
Messi,
So
Messi.
Portugal is Chrissy.
I'm Portugal
Right.
is Christic. It has nothing to do with any
History.
historic thing. For me, Brazil, watching them, it's been for years, watching the style, watching the fact that they have vibes, and always like the energy, and dance when they finish scoring. That's my kind of team. I like that kind of energy.
You like the vibes?
I love the vibe. And I love the skill.
Yeah.
You know, if you watch a Ronaldinho back in the day, they will do anything to entertain the fans.
Yeah.
And that's why I love Brazilian teams.
Do you remember where you were when you defeated Germany in the final, 2002? It was
Yeah, man, I was at home.
You're at
I was
home.
at home, you know,
'Cause
my
that's Sunday
family,
morning,
and
yeah.
I was saying, you know, this needs to happen. The score needs to be settled because, you know, one of my memories of Brazil that made me most unhappy, I was now settled, I now understand World Cup and stuff. It was 2006 when Roberto Carlos stand up and the ball went over and Thierry Henry just shake my net and shake my future and affected all of my dreams. So you know, Brazil has had their ups and downs. But now I'm looking at coming into today and these morning games, I think Portugal, people are not watching them, people are not seeing it, and people talk about how stacked Brazil is as a team. But Portugal is stacked. You know, I'm looking at the lineup this morning, and Dalot is at right back. You know, as a Man U fan, happy to see Dalot in the side. But they have changed the side 3 games in a row. They have not played the same. I'm not sure if that's a good thing in the sport, but they have not played the same exact
11.
lineup 3 games in a row, just to show you how deep their squad is and the potential that they have right now.
To be fair, France did go and feel their BT.
No. You see, France went to Corner League in the final game. It was a Corner League match. No, it must be a Corner League. Yeah. No, it could not be. No coach should try the thing with France.
That was a terrible one.
No, I only see people like that who play them central midfield and left back and those things. Corner League when you don't have any players, when you don't know everybody come play. That was what, France.
Because
you haven't played yet? Come play.
Right.
Because we did talk about England changing up their team again, and I did mention it here. If you're going to change your team, and you've secured a quality,
it's a strategic.
No, but if you're going to change your team, right? Because you know they hadn't played Foden as much.
Right.
Put him in, and you know get him the minutes. Know what you're getting, because it's not the time to change your team in the round of 16, right? But what France did was
I stick
shocking.
with my statement.
Corner League.
Yeah, man.
Right. So what I'm saying is changing for Portugal, changing their 11 and not feeling the exact same 11. It's good to know how they work, because you're going into the round of 16 where it's do or die. You know that you need to take out, say, for whatever reason. You're taking out Fernandes. He can't play, but at least you know who else can play.
I think Felix can come out. I think Felix can come out. Leo can come in.
You know the rest of your squad and how they're playing and how they're vibing with each other. Right. And I think that's an important strategic move. I mean, again, we never do it like France. I don't know what corner league them was playing, but
Tunisia wasn't taken seriously.
When I saw Kamavinga
Tunisia
at
wasn't
left
taken.
back, I see Kamavinga at left back.
You just knew.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing because that's one of their best central midfielders. You should be getting an opportunity in the center of the park to play and to get an opportunity and to show him worth.
It was all round.
Yeah, so, but he will learn. Zidane is waiting. That's all I can say. So he can continue to play around with his side because Zidane is sitting down waiting on him to mess up.
If we talk about passionate players, we know, I mean, it wasn't passionate fully about football because I don't think we'll ever fully know what was said on that field, but Zidane is very passionate.
No, we already know.
Yeah. But
Zidane is no different from Suarez in this situation. We fight for our team or for myself, whatever.
I thought that headbutt, we don't exactly know what was said.
We certainly don't know, but he's
passionate.
But
you know, he's passionate. Can't rule that out. He's very passionate.
So I'm really still keeping an eye out on the Portugal team
for the fact that they've been able to field three different teams.
He has a very reserved national coach. Santos is not a coach that You know, for the flair players that they have,
Right.
I don't see him playing open, expansive kind of football with them. But it's not a team. You know, they won the Euros. You always say, oh well, you know, I didn't expect them to win the Euros when they did, but they did. So they can grind out a win. They have the squad to do it. You know, if you look at Cancelo at left back, I have Dollar right back. Those are good players that can do cause any kind of harm in doing the game. And then you have people like Neves that's in the midfield that can play some passes. Vitinha that is also at PSG playing regularly. So they have a squad that can cause some damage.
Yeah, and just briefly on the Brazilian side as well, Conrad. Tita, your thoughts about him? Because some Brazilian fans have mixed views about him being back for another cycle, especially after the Brazil-Belgium game back in 2018.
I like him.
Okay.
You know, I like him. I like him as a coach. He has grown. You know, as a Brazilian coach, plays Brazilian style and flair way for a long time. Then, you know, went to the World Cup and learned that the European teams will pick you apart and play new formations, 3 at the back, 4 in the middle, 3 at the forward line. And I don't think he was ready for those. I don't think he saw any of those kind of 2-3-5 like what Pep play in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I think coming to that World Cup, he learned a lot about formations and European style formations. But now he has changed significantly. I've seen new formations, new styles, more inverted wing backs. Brazil don't look like an all attacking team. You know, they are now a more defensive team than I've ever seen before. This is the first time I've seen a Brazilian side that you don't expect them to concede a goal. Like, I don't know if people know, you know, that Brazil used to win World Cups, even in 2002, and games went like 5-2, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't think people remember that Brazil used to walk out of position and Roberto Carlos out of position 2-3 times, and I don't think people know that, even though they won.
Right.
You understand my point? But now, I don't see a goal scoring on them because of how he has changed the formation, changed the style of play, and he's a really, really great coach now.
Yeah, and when you look at, you know, the way that they've set up, especially in attack, you can see that as well. The approach that they've taken.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the formation here, they have 4 attacking players, but if you realize directly behind them, they have 4 more players directly behind as well. So they attack with 4 and they defend with 4. So at the back, you know, you realize that that's the 2 central midfielders, but on the wider side, those are the 2 wing backs. So the 2 wing backs are playing like central midfielders. Right. So counter attack, you can't counter attack a team like this. You know, so it's really, really looking like Manchester City, you know, Jeb's side. You know, look like a big Manchester City side, but they don't have that, which is Neymar walking through 2 players right there and picking a pass, because that's the first goal. You know, the build up to the first goal. So I would just say now that Brazil has shown a level of growth. No longer looking just like the Samba Boys anymore. It's a Samba Boys mixed with little Pep Guardiola kind of style, and that will be, I know, the advantage that they have for this World Cup.
Yeah, you spoke about Tite going to Europe and learning as well from different examples. You know, your thoughts about Jamaica's coach Hal Grimson actually going to Qatar and taking in.
So the people say Grimace should not be should watch the game on TV. No, but I think the thing is, no great scout, no great national coach watches players from the TV. You don't get the same perspective. You don't see the formations. You don't actually see, you know, the style of play, and I think it's very important for exposure. I believe strongly that people must get different levels of education, different levels of exposure, and different levels of experience. So he has never, I'm sure he went to the World Cup before, so he has the experience of it. But no, being exposed to the new formations, the new styles, the new games, how people are preparing for a World Cup at this time of the year, all of those things is very good for him to grow and develop. So I think it's best for him, and it's good for the national team, and I hope he will see young stars, 17, 18-year-olds getting started, Pelistri starting. You know, he will see some of that and say to himself, I must get Whisper in the national team starting on a weekly basis. And those are the kind of things that we are looking for in this game. We want him to go there and see those kind of players starting early and not wait till Leon Bailey get to 20 or than 20 something before we get to for him to get into the national team, and that's what we want to see.
Oh boy.
Oh, whisper?
Yeah. Apparently the nation's secret national treasure again.
No man, it's our Mbappe man. I don't care what anybody wants to say, you know. It's our Mbappe and I need him to get into one of these things. As I said to Simon, I think it was the first time we had conversation, I said to him, it's time for the national team to get our best players in the best leagues in the world.
No, for sure.
And Whisper is one of those, and then we need to get him in the national team playing on a regular basis.
I have two sides to that coin. I totally agree that he does have something, right? I agree that I think it was Piton who had said it.
Right.
That he does need to get out of Jamaica and go into a European country. I also want to, before he even gets that far, one of the things that people don't seem to appreciate or look into a lot is psychological. The psychological impact that it has to take somebody out of Jamaica who is right now labeled as the next big thing, to put them into a system where they're nothing. They're literally nothing because everybody else in that system has been working that system since they're 8. There's a psychological part, and I think before people just pluck you out and put you in, to prepare them for it, because it is damaging if you're not prepared properly.
If anybody else was able, if I saw him being managed by anybody else, I would have a different opinion. But at this point, I trust his manager, and I trust that his manager will do his best for him. It's controversial manager, but I respect him, and I respect the work he did with another player, and I hope that he will use the same trajectory, carry him to all the academies, give him the best opportunity, and walk him through the academies as best as he can. And you just looking at the choices he made for Leon, Genk, to another development club,
Germany,
to another development club, Aston Villa. He's still in development, you know. And this is 3 clubs.
Yeah.
He could have said early, Leon, go to Chelsea, go to Real Madrid, go to one of those big teams, but he'd know he wouldn't get the time. So going through the same trajectory for Whisper would be a very good opportunity for him as well, and for the national team. Because I'm a big Jamaican fan, I'm a big Brazil fan. But you know, when Brazil played Jamaica once and it was 0-0, and then Roberto Carlos scored, my heart, you know, nearly skip a beat. So because I'm a big Jamaican fan, and I still want, as much as we support all of these teams on this show, it will be very important for us to look at what's working for others and steal a little from them.
I definitely agree with you. So I definitely agree with our coach being over there to understand and see firsthand some of these switch up of tactics in middle of games, looking at how Saudi was able to neutralize Argentina and all of this.
One step forward.
One step forward. For the development of the Jamaican system. We were talking about it earlier. I was saying that we should have just fielded like some camps from you come out of prep school, primary school, and just have a little camp there. We know it has something to do with funding. I can't say that we have the funding for it. But have certain camps going up, because then they'll you know your players, you know who's coming out, and then they have a system where they know how to play with each other.
Yeah,
you're not trying to camp them.
We need to get a coach for 12 years. We need to go into 8 and 12 year cycles when we talk about World Cup. And I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks to World Cup development in Jamaica. We talk about World Cup in 4 year cycles. So now to 2026, that's too short to develop a team. So if you look at Southgate, been doing it for a while. If you look at Belgium, it's 12 years. When you look at the Spain team that went to 2010 World Cup, same thing. When Germany did it, they peaked at the right time for 2014. This Brazilian team has been going through all the pains of losing for previous years. They're now peaking and getting to that. And I wouldn't even think they've peaked, because most of the players are 23.
Exactly. They're still there.
They're still there. So I would say to everybody that we need to look at these opportunities and say to this coach, I want you to be here for 8 years, and I'm giving you 2 World Cup cycles. Get them to first round and get them out of the first round in the next World Cup. The following World Cup, let's try for a quarter-final place from out of the CONCACAF Cup. And that's what we have to start thinking, just like the US team. This US team is not, this World Cup is not the World Cup for this US team. Still too young. I think the next World Cup you may see them back into They have been the quarter finalist winners.
The quarterfinals, Princess.
Yeah, man, because you know them,
Always
they
there.
always get to, back in the day, they play basic football and they get to the quarterfinals. They don't move from there, but that's their spot. And I think we as CONCACAF need to get US to semi and Jamaica up to quarter. And that should be the way
You know,
evolution.
speaking of keep getting respect, we have Gold Cup coming up.
Next summer, right? Yeah.
So, I mean,
Opportunities.
Opportunities are there, and I for sure, as I said, I for sure want to see him in the squad. He needs to get that experience. He needs to get all of that, because at the end of the day, you can't knock what a player has. But we want to hone it. We want to make sure it's developed properly.
Not here. I don't want to hone it here.
No, as in we want to hone it and develop it properly.
Yes,
not
but
here.
not in Jamaica.
I never said
Not
it.
in
You can't
Jamaica.
hone that and develop that here. Right, but I'm on that balancing side of also what we saw with Rashford and Saka when they missed those penalties. You know, you don't want to put too much pressure on them either. In a national side,
It's the experience. Look at
no.
Rashford now.
What I mean is, you don't want that experience so that if it happens, you know, some
deflates
players
them.
when they break, they break.
Yeah.
I mean, Rashford has obviously come back stronger. They've come back stronger, but with some players, and we don't have that back office of the psychological aspect, you don't want to break the players too early.
Yeah, still quite a lot to get through. We're just a few minutes to go before kickoff. The teams are about to walk out of the tunnel now, sing their national anthems, and kickoff just a few minutes away. A reminder of the fixtures coming up at 10 o'clock. It will be Uruguay against Ghana and South Korea against Portugal. At 2 o'clock, it is Serbia against Switzerland and Cameroon against Brazil. Conrad, I'll start with you on this one. Which one of the 4 games most looking forward to seeing?
Serbia is
Nice.
I joke it. I'm looking forward to another great game by the Brazilians. Hope to see some formation changes still. Not formation, but player changes. Hopefully Rodrigo get the start. The last game he didn't. Paqueta didn't really show up. I think was substituted at halftime. So it'll be good to see what the coach is going to do today. I would love to see Anthony get a game, seeing that they have already qualified. Love to see my Brazilian Manchester United players get some playing time today.
Yeah. Joel, Ghana versus Uruguay. Suarez against Ghana.
I mean, so to be honest, at this stage of the World Cup, I'm looking forward to every single game, just to see that shake-up happening, and just to see the different permutations that come through during each game. As we said, no team here is mathematically out. And we've seen where, you know, I mean, even the France against Tunisia game where we saw Tunisia qualifying for quite some time. And, you know, it's very interesting to see what's going on. I do want to see the Serbia-Switzerland game just to see what's going on there. And I do want to watch that Portugal-South Korea game. I want to see the battle.
I think the South Korea game, Portugal game, is a game to show me today if Portugal is really ready for this World Cup. Because I know the South Koreans are going to try to push them to the wire to show their class and their quality. So if I see a game coming out today where they blow them out the park and they control the game and they manage game, good in-game management, then I would say to myself, these are real strong contenders for the World Cup.
So, folks, we've seen quite a bit. We've seen the upsets. We've seen high-scoring games. I guess the only thing we have left to see is a hat-trick at this tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had red cards as well. We've seen a couple of own goals. So, just a hat-trick. That's basically the last thing. Yeah, it's
From
been a
who?
while. From who?
Who you think it's, Simon?
I'm thinking Rodrigo, honestly.
Rodrigo, you think this is the Champions League final? Yeah, man. I think we could get 3 goals from Richarlison.
Richarlison.
I think we can get 3 goals. I think Richarlison can give 3 goals. I think Messi can give us 3 goals depending on a good game, based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's a good game.
If he has a good game,
yeah.
he can have it. But otherwise, I don't see a lot of world-class strikers in this World Cup that will give us.
It's been a very interesting. Everybody gets.
It's not a. I think Jeff said it. I really respected some of the things Jeff said.
Yeah.
He says a midfielders World Cup, and I agree. It's a midfielders World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, and the best midfield seems to be winning.
Indeed, Luis Suarez, Lionel Messi. We'll see. Will Suarez get to be in the last 16 of another major showpiece? Well, we'll get that answer and more over the next few hours.
Oh my God.
Romelu Lukaku.
You know,
4 chances.
watched them over last night like 3 times.
But as a United fan, you still feel a soft spot in your heart?
No. It's like how I
Belgium
feel.
versus the post.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Belgium versus the post and the offside, and the but Romelu it's unfair for him. You know, it's limited minutes, maybe less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He has played in months, so it was unfit. But boy, you would think for a world-class striker, you would have hoped.
Yeah.
That team would have get one there.
Just one.
That's all they needed to. Just the one.
Just one. And I think it was Rakitic that said he's gonna pay for his vacation because, you know, thank you for letting me through to the second round. So yeah, man, it's a good World Cup and we're enjoying it so far.
Absolutely. All right, folks, join us again at 1 o'clock. We will have our afternoon show. Stay tuned for more. All right, take care.
Stream. Left up.